I belong to a lot of those type of communities. Literally the type of folks who will scold you for not being woke enough. And I was well wrapped into that sort of thing. Again, social democrat, just I would call myself a progressive or whatever. And then from the social aspect, like I say, whenever I exited, hat in hand, the woke scold communities that I had belonged to previously, it gave me a lot of consideration on those social issues. Like I say, feminism being one of them. The concept of intersectionality and how that plays out with regard to trans people, other marginalized people, just broadly.
Yeah,
I did the age-old listen to women, and none of them could give me a proper answer on this. And the more right. I had interacted with trans people, but specifically non-binary people, gender fluid people. I don't know if you're familiar with xenogenders. Or what that is.
I'm only familiar with.
I know you have some MB friends and whatnot, but
Yeah, and I mean my partner's non-binary.
Right.
I don't know. I mean I'm open to learning about all of it.
Interacting with a lot of non-binary people really opened my eyes to some of the flaws that I saw in what. Well, for instance, in the ways that 2010 radical feminism had taken off in the mainstream, and the reaction of the left with that regard, more specifically the online left, and online feminism. Say, for instance, trans misogyny by TERFs. I'm sure you're familiar with the phrase TERFs, trans exclusive radical feminists.
That's what J.K. Rowling's been labeled as now.
Right, that Meghan Murphy. Basically, a lot of those concepts seem familiar to me in the way that a lot of radical feminism and online feminism. There's just too much of an overlap I see in the rhetoric for me to be trusting and to really empathize with a lot of those positions of where I've seen 2010 feminism and its solipsistic concepts reaching out into the 2020s, and you see that with a lot of the rhetoric too. How often have you seen a bumper sticker that says no uterus, no opinion, and then immediately they find some conservative woman to be like, oh well, I have a uterus, so I have an opinion, and it's like, oh wow, you fucking dipshits didn't see that coming from like a decade ago, huh?
Right,
and then you ask them their opinions about trans men, and it literally ask a radical feminist, how they feel about trans men, and you will literally get the exact same rhetoric if you asked a TERF about trans women or non-binary people. If you ask them specifically, trans-inclusive radical feminists, allegedly more intersectional variants of radical feminists. If you ask them directly, how do you feel about non-binary people? They'll say some like, oh, well, I believe in intersectionality and that trans people are valid and blah, 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 blah. And then whenever you ask them specifically about issues pertaining to trans men, it either turns into, and they won't never say this, but the rhetoric keys in that either they view non-binary AFABs as women light, trans masc people broadly as women light, or fallen sisters who have become the patriarchy now. I've actually seen, rad femmes and their fucking support groups, their hug boxes, reference trans men who pass gaining the benefits of patriarchy, and I'm like, you fucking sick bitches, what the fuck is this shit? Like, that is straight up that is straight up out of the J.K. Rowling playbook, just the other way. Inclusivity is a zero-sum game. It really is. I don't know.